like you to grab a mug of hot water with tea. And let's see if we can improve the way we look at things, the way we feel in this moment. There are moments where we feel very upset, hurtful, or hurt, angry, mad, sad, and we might have a natural tendency to either or blame others or blame ourselves. If others behave differently, we wouldn't have to observe and react. And when we put the focus on others' behaviours, it might give us a justification for the way we feel, but also makes us feel powerless, because no matter how much we try, and we can try through influencing or controlling, there'll be times, or many times, where we'll realise that others' behaviours, thoughts and actions are totally or mostly outside of our control. And if you try to manage and control it, it might give us the illusion that we are controlling, but then we don't have enough resources to manage and control everyone and the whole world to behave in the ways that we want, so that we can feel good. Certain things we accept with more ease. We might moan at the weather for raining or being cold, but certainly we don't fight with the weather. We just accept. In certain environments we are more accepting, such as workplaces and other environments. We are more flexible and tolerant, such as in relationships with friends and strangers, and other environments in close proximity relationships. We tend to be more of our full selves and tend to dominate and wanting that things go our way. And when they are not, we do get upset and then blame on others. And sometimes we might have a habit or pattern of just blaming ourselves. No. We're going to validate our struggles, our feelings, connecting with ourselves and acknowledging my thoughts are valid, my feelings are valid, my struggle is valid. Sometimes we put it into perspective. Compared to a bigger struggle is minimal, and in a way that helps us navigate and accept and know that others are worse off than us. On the other hand, if we are next to someone that always has the biggest struggle, only feels that our struggle and hurts and suffering is never seen, never heard, never felt, except felt by us. And he feels that we don't matter, because in comparison to someone else's, it's nothing. All hurts are valid. All emotions are valid. And we shouldn't compare ourselves with others. comparing ourselves with others in order to look for inspiration, follow the guidance and the knowledge and the path of making better choices is helpful. But often when we compare to the best of others with the worst of ourselves, and then we feel less good. So just notice how you feel in this moment. Close your eyes for a moment. So, sip. You might notice that others' behaviours, ways of thinking that are unhelpful contribute towards certain problems. And we can see that with a certain degree with ease. But when it is ourselves, because it is so ingrained the way we think, the way we feel, it's difficult to recognise when at times we are thinking in ways that are unhealthy and unproductive. And others might point that out to ourselves, and we might not want to accept their comment because we might feel that we are being judged, criticised, put down, disrespected for our thoughts and beliefs. And it's hard to see what we don't know, what we can't see. But often there is more to something than we can see or feel. And for the same stimulus, there are as many thoughts and reactions as there are people, if not more. Close the eyes for a moment. Notice the breathing. Where do you feel your breathing? Your chest, belly. What is it? What's the sound? Is it silent? What sound does it make? Is it easy and effortless? Don't beat yourself up if it is not. Just simply observe without judging, criticizing or worrying. Simply observing. Let's have another sip. There are some thoughts that we all have at times. And more often when we are struggling with stress, overwhelm, anxiety, anger, negative feelings of any sort. And they come so automatically that we believe them. We might have a bigger tendency towards those thoughts because of our circumstances, our way of being and thinking, our personality traits, the way that we absorbed and observed and learned as we did live our life experience. So we shouldn't be blamed or judged or penalized for having them. They are in our culture. They serve a purpose. Sometimes their purpose is to motivate us, but actually backfires. Sometimes they're helpful in the short term, but actually have negative consequences on the mid and long term. And unless we learn, we reflect on them and are aware of them, we just carry them blindly. And we can make our suffering greater, bigger. And when we suffer, we blame it all on others, or all on ourselves. So let's see if we can find a much healthy and balanced way of looking at things. See if we can identify some of those thoughts that might be in this moment present and contributing towards our struggle, and making the problem bigger than it is. Bring some light perspective so that we can feel more hopeful, optimistic, and feel the resilience that is within us blossom and grow further, stronger. Close the eyes, soften the jaw, the teeth, the forehead. Close one nostril and exhale. Close the opposite nostril and exhale. Close and exhale. Close and exhale. Close and exhale. Close and exhale. And you notice just the body really wanting to take a deeper breath. A breath that connects with the belly. Just let it have its natural course. Have another sip. So in this moment, am I being supportive of myself or biased, negatively biased against myself? And that might seem like a simple question. And we think we are supporting ourselves, and to a certain extent we are, because we are taking steps to feel better. But then let's unpack a little bit. Remove some of the layers of this onion, so to speak, so we can get to the core of our thoughts and beliefs. Am I seeing myself as coping or not coping in this moment? Coping or not coping with this situation? When we're feeling negative, we're more likely to be seeing ourselves as not coping now and in the future. Am I being supportive and encouraging? Or am I being harsh, judgmental, criticizing myself for not being, not doing, or having done? Am I being harsh on myself, being my worst critic? Or am I being compassionate, loving and supportive? Am I punishing myself or encouraging and supporting? Just pause for reflection. Let's recognize that there are moments where we cope, and actually cope extremely well in certain circumstances. And we have evidence of moments where we coped well, balanced, helpfully. So it's not all or nothing, either cope or don't cope. There are moments where we manage to keep ourselves together, to take proactive, helpful steps. And there are moments where perhaps we didn't. But instead of saying that I'm not coping or will not cope, recognizing there are moments where we did cope and we are coping. And in the same way, there will be struggles, but there'll be moments where we are coping and will cope. So, there are things that I'm doing well and things that I'm coping. And I'm going to recognize those. Are we just looking at the things that we are failing at, that we are not overcoming yet, that we don't know how to deal with in this moment? Are we focusing on our shortcomings and negative attributes and the things we are not doing well? Or am I focusing reflection in a way to find solutions, to find improvement is a good thing? However, being stuck on it is not helpful, because then we feel negative and we feel that we have nothing in terms of skills, in terms of abilities, in terms of competences. And never we're looking at it, never looking at our negatives, then we can just be so blinded that we don't improve. So it is important to recognize, but also important then to move in the direction of what can I do to learn, to improve, to do differently, and then taking baby steps. But along the way, noticing and recognizing our tiny little wins, our baby achievements. Because when we're struggling, we fail to see the things that we're good at, the things that we are managing, the things that we are coping. We fail to see all of that. We fail to see our successes, even they may be small. And we fail to see the things that we take for granted that we are good at naturally. So I give myself permission to see the things that I'm doing well, that I did well. My successes, my achievements. And also, we can even extend that grace to others. Instead of just focusing on blaming someone, just seeing their negative attributes, recognizing their successes, their achievements, their positive attributes, so that we're not so against them. Close the eyes, soften, relax, bring the shoulders up, back and down. Turn the head side, center, side, center, down, center, up, center. Notice the breath. Allow it to rise and fall. Have another sip. This moment, how am I looking at this situation? Am I looking at just bad, terrible? Just focusing on the things that are horrible, terrible, not working. What we don't want. Well, there is a function and purpose and a benefit to it. Identifying what we don't want and therefore what we want instead. For instance, I don't want disrespect, I want respect. I don't want conflict, I want peace. I don't want problems that cause suffering, I want solutions that resolve. Or making peace with things. I don't want things that are destructive, but things that are supportive and life-giving, encouraging. But then within the situations, am I going with all or nothing type of thinking? It's all terrible. The person is all horrible, all bad. The situation is all bad. Am I going with this type of thinking where I'm only seeing the negatives of the situation? Can I ease off that pedal on the interest, feeling a little bit better? I can focus on the things that are going bad, and then in time finding solutions to address them, to solve them. Either taking the steps myself or encouraging and supporting others to take the steps. But equally, I'm going to take the time to notice the things that are neutral in this situation, this very specific situation. And I'm going to challenge myself to have the courage to see in this person, in this situation, in myself, the things that are good, the things that are working out, the things that are positive, the things that are going well, so that I have a more balanced view of myself, others, and the circumstance. What are the neutrals and positives right now? Pause the video if you need more time. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a full breath in and a slower breath out. Full breath in and a slower breath out. Relax the arms, relax the legs, relax the feet. Notice, observe the body. Be the observer with curiosity. Take another little sip and adjust. How am I viewing the future right now? Am I looking at it in a pessimistic way, negative way, hopeless way? Am I looking at things that they will continue to be bad, stay as bad, or be even worse? Because that's often our automatic thinking when we are feeling terrible, especially when you're in low mood and even depression. And that's no easy ride to feel hopeless. It's very tough on the mind, the body, the emotions, and even on relationships and our attitude towards things in life, others. It's very hard. It's an extreme way of looking at it, even though we might feel that is a justified and natural way of thinking. But if you observe that sort of thinking in a child, we have more life experience to say, yes, some things are, or even based on a life experience, some things are bad, some things are neutral, some things are good. That's within us, within others, within circumstances, within things. And that pattern seems to repeat and be a fact of life. We address some things and we solve some things, but then create other problems. There's a saying that says that change creates crisis and crisis creates change. Yes, there's a possibility that some things in the future will be bad, but let's not be paralyzed by that fear. We can recognize that, yes, some things, it is a fact of life that some things will go bad, some things will stay bad, and some things can even go worse. But also acknowledge that some things, based on past experiences, do get better and did get better in the past. And some good things will happen in future, which will help us have the strength, the resources, the coping skills to deal with the challenges. And in the past, whenever things were bad and we struggled, somehow we found ways of coping. While we recognized that some ways were not helpful, we also found some helpful ways of coping. And we are more resourceful now. And in turn, we'll be more resourceful in the future. We'll have the benefits of the feeling good, of the things that will be working on the future. It is not fair to put ourselves in this situation thinking about the problems of the future because we don't have any resources. We're not there yet. So let's just focus on, in this moment, what can I do to improve the way I feel in this moment? What small little step can I take? Perhaps just simply adjusting so that I can feel a bit more relaxed. And I can focus on one moment in time, one moment at a time, bit by bit, one day at a time, just in a way that is manageable, in a way that I can cope. And I can find ways to learning, to deal to problem solving. And if that is beyond my capabilities, in this moment I can ask for help. I can reach for help. I can have access to help, either directly with a person, through a book, through an audio, or a combination. Speaking with others that have dealt with a challenge and have learned how to cope with it, so that I don't feel so alone, so isolated or hopeless, and knowing that at times when we can't find the solutions, we can learn to cope and manage the distress that accompanies it. So regardless of the situation and the outcome, we will be okay, and we are okay. Even if we're hurting, we can soothe and comfort as long as we need. Close the eyes for a moment. Bring the shoulders up, back and down. Take a full breath in and a slower breath out. Relax the jaw further, the teeth, the ears and the earring, the nose and the breathing, part the lips and the teeth. A little sip of water, or tea or soup. When we are struggling with our feelings and emotions in a moment, there's a possibility, a very strong possibility, that our brain just went from 0 to 100 on terms of outcomes, and automatically assuming the worst. We feel unwell, we automatically assume that the worst will happen to our health. We have this type of catastrophic thinking, that someone will reject us, that we'll feel unloved and feel like a failure forever, and will be crushed by it. That will fail miserably and will never recover from it. That will feel so bad that won't be able to cope with it. That the uncertainties will be so strong that we'll feel crazy. That we'll feel out of control and we can't get ourselves back into balance. People will reject us and will feel so isolated that they will die of loneliness. So we have these fears, and the brain is looking for reassurance, and we automatically go to the worst possible scenario for ourselves and others. And we think that we won't be able to cope. And that is a very hard situation to be in, and with this kind of thinking where the worst is going to happen all of the time in all areas of our life, makes us feel hopeless and helpless. I think those are very hallmarks of depression, this sort of thinking. Let's recognize that, yes, the worst might happen, and sometimes, unfortunately, it does happen in life. but when we observe others, or even from our life experience, we get to recognize and learn that in time, and bit by bit, we learn to cope, to rise above it, even if we are hurting, to find the will to carry on. And sometimes all we need is a little help. Sometimes it could be a little help in terms of getting more sleep, eating a healthy and balanced diet, reducing our stresses, connect with others so we don't feel so isolated, and wrestle with the thoughts in our minds, and create little moments in our day where we get in touch with feelings of neutrality, good satisfaction, relaxation, positive, optimistic, even smile and laugh. Hee hee hee. So, if the worst has happened, then hopefully we'll have coping skills and resources. And if we don't, there'll be others that have the knowledge and the experience that we can get in touch, either personally or through an audio or book. We can even ask a doctor, I'm struggling with this. What do you suggest? What help is available? We can speak with a trusted friend or member of the community that has a natural tendency and an interest in helping others. They're often removed, and it's easier to give help and advice when you're removed from the situation, when your mind is calm and the body is relaxed. If the worst happens, we will learn to cope with it. And the worst can happen, that's a reality and a fact of life. However, most of the time, based on our previous experience where we imagined and thought about the worst, actually our body healed. We were hurt and overcome rejection. We've learned from our failures and took the lessons. We coped with our emotions, and we made peace with the uncertainty. So if it did happen before, it can happen again. So close the eyes. I am more resourceful than I give myself credit. Relax the toes and the feet, the ankles, the calf muscles, the knees. Allow them to just simply relax. Take a full breath in and a slower breath out. Observe, relax. Observe the thoughts and feelings without judging, criticizing, simply with curiosity. Full sip. think that others are viewing myself in a moment of struggle. Not that I'm struggling, how do I think that others view me? We are feeling negative and struggling. It is very common to think and feel that others see us as weak, boring, stupid, not coping. And we might even think those thoughts about someone else's. But let's think for a moment. All human beings, including ourselves, others, ourselves, we have behaviors, and we should be defined by our behaviors rather than labeling the whole person as a one thing. And let's give ourselves the grace of seeing a more balanced view of ourselves and others. There are moments where we do feel weak, physically, mentally, emotionally, and we see ourselves as not coping because the struggle, physically, emotionally, the problem is bigger than our resources in a moment. And those are moments, and perhaps they happen more often than we want to. The more we live, the more there is to observe and react. Yes, that is the truth that at times we do feel weak and we're not coping. And that is one part of life. And it is hard and tough to cope with and taxing. And we don't need to hide it and pretend it doesn't exist. We can acknowledge and give ourselves some compassion and validate our thoughts and feelings. I am hurting. And it's okay if others don't see it. I can see it. And I can give myself some tender love and care. Breathe in. Breathe out. But also going to recognize that are moments where I'm strong, physically, mentally, emotionally, courageous, resilient. I even have the evidence to back this up, even if others don't see it, even if others don't know. And I can even see that in others. I can see where they've been strong, resilient, brave, coping. You all have moments where we cope and we cope extremely well. And there are moments that we cope okay. Close the eyes. I choose to see and recognize the moments where I'm strong and I'm coping and I'm resilient and I'm doing well. Breathe in. Breathe out. You might think that others see us as stupid, not clever, not intelligent. And we might feel that about ourselves or others. But again, let's label the behaviors and recognise we all have natural skills, natural tendencies, abilities, things that we've learned, that we've practiced. And it's good that we are good at different things. So as a community, we all bring different strength. And there are moments where we might make stupid decisions or have behaviours that in retrospective we could look at it, that was not as smart, that was a bit stupid. Either because we didn't have the know-how, the capacity, we were in a very dark, low place. But we can learn from those mistakes. We can recognise what we know and we don't know, what we need to learn. We can make peace with the things we don't know and acknowledge, I don't know, I don't have the answer. And be at peace with that, without fearing the judgment of others. If others judge because we don't know and are stupid in their eyes, that's their observation, their way of thinking. We can reflect on it, but we don't need to buy it. We don't need to accept their point of view. There are things there we are resourceful, that we know. There are ideas that are clever, intelligent and smart, and behaviours and habits. And while I can learn from my stupid mistakes, I can also recognise the moments when I'm smart enough, good enough, intelligent enough. Some people are incredibly skilled in one area, but all human, and that's incredible and admirable. But all human beings have areas where they are very good at something and struggle with something else. So no one is a perfect package the whole time and intelligent and smart at all things. And again, let's not compare our weakness and struggle with someone else's strength. And equally, it's not fair when we compare our natural strength with someone else's weakness, because then we expect more of them, and they can only give what they can give. The same with us, we can only give what we can give. We are not them, they're not us, and we need to respect each other's limits, our limits, and recognize that we have an intelligence that can be tapped into, expanded in the areas that interest us, that we need to know, that we are able to. Close the eyes. Relax the leg, the buttocks. Take a full breath in. Slower breath out. Just observe the body, the thoughts, the feelings. Relax further. You might think that others look at us as being bad. They don't like us. The truth is, no one is ever all bad or all good, just behaviours. And the truth is, not everyone likes us, and we don't like everyone. We're not everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay. And very often, if not more often, we think that others are negatively judging us, not liking us, and many times we don't even cross their minds, or they're neutral or indifferent towards us. And if they don't like us because of a certain behaviour, or as in general, that's okay. We can make peace with it. We can't please everyone. But we can learn to like ourselves. I choose to like myself, even though my behavior is not perfect at all times. Even though I'm not perfect at all times. I choose to respect and like and love myself. Take a full breath in. And a full breath out. And to ease off the pedal of disliking someone that can escalate into hatred. We can look at the things that are neutral and even we appreciate about them. So view them in a more lighter way, in a neutral way. Take a sip. Adjust. Turn the neck and relax. Turn to the other side and relax. We can look at ourselves in ways that are useful or not useful. And if you're feeling negatives, we might label ourselves or others as useless. Meaning it's not useful for anything or anyone. That's very harsh. We can have those thoughts, or other people can have those thoughts about us, and we might think that people have those thoughts about us. And it's incredibly harsh, because all human beings are useful in some capacity to themselves, to others, to things. Just behaviors that shed some light and see in what ways I am useful. And celebrate these small achievements, our strengths and qualities. And recognize in what ways are others useful. And if I really truly believe that others think badly or wrongly or about me, can I have the courage to check if I need to straighten things up, to clarify, or can I just accept everyone is entitled to their own opinion? I'm still going to choose to value me, to recognize my weakness, but also see my strength and capacity and abilities. And I'm going to recognize that others have weakness and things that perhaps I don't like, I don't want to see. But I'm also going to recognize the things they could add, their strength, their positives. So I choose to have a balanced view of myself, others and the world. So that I'm fairer to myself and others and things. So that I can feel better. So that I can show up better. Close the eyes. Relax the hips, the lower back, mid-back, upper back. Straighten, align. Take a full breath in. And a slower breath out. Allow my heart to open, to soften. I allow light to illuminate my thoughts, warm my connect with optimism and positivity. Take another sip. When we are struggling with our negative thoughts and feelings, situations, people, we can go into either taking the full blame for things or taking the blame where we might not even realize we're taking the blame, or blaming others solely for the problem. We can say it's all my fault that we have this problem. We might be blaming others, all their fault, because they behave in this way or did not behave in the way they should have. And sometimes we don't recognize we are blaming ourselves. For instance, if a child is misbehaving, we might be blaming ourselves for not being a good enough mother, or having taken all the right decisions, of being the best example at all times. We might blame ourselves for not being the perfect daughter, wife, employer, or friend. And we might blame others, but in fairness, in life everything is a contributor. Different things contribute towards the problem. The way we think, the way we behave, our experience, what we know, what we are capable of in each moment. And it's the same for other people. We have strength, but we also have weakness. And some things are circumstantial to a time and date and history and place. So an extreme is all my fault or is all their fault is two extreme ways that are not helpful. We can recognize what was our contributions as a way of learning, what things we need to learn and improve, to recognizing our weakness, to recognize our vulnerability so we can take steps to manage and deal and cope in the best possible way, and avoid repeating the same mistakes, learning our lessons, so we can make different decisions and make different choices in the now and in the future. But also recognizing that others do contribute and things do contribute. So there's a more balanced way. And perhaps there are things that we are doing and others are doing that we are oblivious, that we don't know. And it's only when we have the insight of experience, or we are on someone else's shoes, that we can see fully. Sometimes it takes experience, time, and feeling exactly the same way, being on someone else's shoes, to see a different point of view. So I choose not to take full responsibility. I take responsibility for my thoughts and actions. But I also recognize that others do contribute. And that is a fairer way of looking at responsibility. And I take the steps to improve the way I feel. And I take steps to solve the problem, either by learning, by asking, by reading, hearing, any way that I can think of, or even Googling it. So relax, soften. Take a full breath in. Relax my hands, my fingers, my tongue, my thoughts. Full breath in and a slower breath out. Take another sip. Adjust in any way that feels even more comfortable. Allow the circulation to go from buttock to buttock. In a challenging situation, physically, emotionally, we can have some thoughts that are extreme. And we may find ourselves saying, things are always bad, they never do this, or never works. Not only those are extreme words, and you might even have extreme statements. I must do this, I ought to do this, I should. We might have in this unrealistic standards, perfectionist standards. I must be a perfect mother at all times. I must be a perfect wife at all times. I must be a perfect employer, perfect citizen, perfect friend, a perfect human. But no one is ever perfect. And no one is ever perfect all of the time. So, why don't we allow ourselves some realistic standards? We might think I must cope at all times with all my challenging situation in life, and I should know better. And after I've learned all of these things, I should know how to deal with this. Should. And these ways of thinking are rigid. They set high standards. And while it's good to have high standards and encouraging ourselves, it also backfires and bites us in the buttocks, in the butt, in the neck. It makes us feel terrible. It makes us feel we're failing. So, am I having these standards for others? They must behave at all times. They must do this at all times. Or else there'll be consequences. Or else they don't care about me. Or else I'm not loved. So relax, soften, and just allow tolerance, flexibility to wash all over our thoughts. And realistic standards. Yes, I like mastery and perfection, but I'm aiming for coping. Anything else is just a bonus, just the icing on top of the cake. Recognize my needs physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and I try to find balance in my thoughts, my solutions, my actions. And the same for others. I let myself go off the hook in others of impossible, unrealistic standards. It's good to improve, it's good to learn, it's good to avoid, but at what cost? To the point when I'm making myself miserable and others miserable, and destroying myself and others, and destroying relationships. So it is important to stay safe physically, mentally, emotionally, and to take steps. And we have to use our courage to take those steps. For everything else, we just do the best we can, bit by bit. And if you're not suited to something, then in time we'll recognize our limitations and try something else. Because for certain, for sure, there's something out there that needs exactly what we have to offer, so we can fit. Someone out there needs exactly what we have to offer. And we are good enough for something, even for ourselves. Yes, it's good to learn and improve and get better, but not at the cost of our health physically, mentally and emotionally, relationally. Let's pick a pace that we can manage. Let's pick the load that we can carry. Let's pick a momentum that allows us to relax and sleep. Don't jump and shout at the cells of your body, come on, faster, faster, perfect. No, just accept that things take its natural time. You don't jump at the seeds and shout, grow up tomatoes, grow up potatoes right now. No, you give it the right nutrients and allow sun and warmth and water. So those seeds can germinate and grow into plants. And nature is not blossoming at all times. There are dormant times. There are active times. And there's a little bit of everything, good and bad. Mess. And chaos and light and order. And it's all part, and we accept those the way that we accept ourselves and others. Taking the steps that we need to stay safe, be safe, to improve and also be satisfied with our achievements, celebrate, and looking forward to the expansion, to the more, to the good, to the positive, and seeing the silver lining in every challenge. Just close the eyes. Take a full breath in and a slow breath out. In time, we'll look at this and recognize there was a time of struggle and suffering, but equally a time of discovery, growth, when we've learned and developed skills that made us feel more resourceful. You're going to be okay. I know you will. And you are doing better, much better than you give yourself credit. It's okay. It's not perfect, and it doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to notice what's going well and what's working within ourselves and others in the circumstance. We can rest and look after ourselves and have another go when we can, bit by bit, step by step. Sometimes we hurt and we struggle, and it's hard, very hard. but equally we heal and grow and overcome. There are horrible things that we don't even want to think about, but equally there are wonderful things happening right now that has happened in the past and will happen in the future. While we might make time to notice the negatives so that we can find solutions and take steps to either avoid, put a boundary in place to protect ourselves physically, mentally, emotionally, or make choices. We also kind of notice and recognize the things that are working out, the things that are good, and the opportunities to learn. And we're going to notice that and recognize that in the past we did struggle with some things that now we don't anymore. Perhaps we struggle with being assertive and now we don't anymore. Perhaps we struggle with not having the courage and now we don't anymore. In certain areas we have overcome some of our challenges. Now we can find peace in this moment. Positive energy, healing. I sincerely hope that you are looking at the situation with a more neutral eyes and in time feel more positive, optimistic. So where's that smile? Where's that smile? Where's that smile? Why are you smiling? Just to give you a little extra strength to carry on. And we can even just There we go again. Repetition of our problems, often same problems. So we can learn the lessons anytime we are. And sometimes others need to learn their lessons and they impact us. So it is tough on them and us. We're going to take a breath. We're going to smile because we are given another minute to breathe and survive. We're going to go with optimism. Positive optimism that we're going to learn. We're going to rise up and we're going to fly with ease. And when we struggle, come back to base. Look at ourselves a little more. Get in touch with someone that helps us feel better in some way, even if it's just a neutral, positive distraction. Then when we're ready, after we are rested, our body functions better when we are rested, when we sleep. Let's give that time we need. Ask for help when we need. Can have a hug. Anything that we need, let's have the courage to ask. Today we might ask, and tomorrow we might be so comfortable in giving. So together we go stronger, healthier, happier. And that's a much better place to be. I learn with you, you learn with me. And together we grow, we expand. We'll learn from those from the past, and the ones from the future will learn from us. So when we don't know, just say we don't know. And when we reach a limit or we don't have a solution immediately, just ask the universe, God, the angels, or anything that we might want to believe in. Universe, please help me. Please help me cope with this situation. Please help me have the patience. Please help me have the wisdom. Please help me cope with these feelings. Universe, please help me. Oh God, oh Virgin Mary. Or whatever it is that we want to turn your attention to that is bigger. For me, the universe encompasses all of it. So pick yours. You're gonna be okay. 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 We all feel negative and bad and terrible at times. Just part of the human experience, and if we are more stressed, more likely to have this kind of thoughts that are unhelpful, get on the way and make things a little bit worse. So, can't control others. But we can look at where we are thinking to see if we can reduce some of our struggle and suffering. I hope that you find this helpful. And I'd like you to repeat these words with me. I'm worthy of respect. I'm worthy of kindness. I'm worthy of love. I have worth. I have value. We don't need to figure it all out all at once. We don't need to figure it all out all at once. We just learn a little bit at a time. And we grow a little bit at a time. And we don't even see our growth until we stop and reflect. Unless others tell us, but everyone is stuck on their own struggle and things. So let's give that gift to ourselves. I came a long way. Yes, I coped in the past. I don't know how, so give me a sign! Give me a sign! Looking for signs, and until we find the signs, that's some of the signs are misleading. Oh, look at this cake. The cake is telling me, eat me. Yeah, misleading sign. If it feels better, now, mid and long term, and it doesn't have negative consequences now, mid and long term, then it is a good solution. Just let worried thoughts and the anxious thoughts get to one side. What if I don't cope? What if I do? What if the worst happens? What if the best or the normal just happens? Or what if I get there and I get rejected? Then I'll feel my emotion. I'll love myself a little more, and I'll get in touch with other people that would like to be in my presence and would like to receive what I'd like to receive. Or others can reject me, but I can still choose to not reject myself, to accept myself, to like myself, to love myself, and accept someone else's decision as they have the right to make their own decision. And I'm okay with it. What about if I fail? Then I learn what works, what doesn't work, what I want on one, my preferences. We can massage and soften our thoughts. What about if I lose control? Well, I'm getting better at recognizing when I start getting out of balance, and I'm better at stopping earlier and taking steps. What about if I can't cope? Well, in the past I've coped to the best of my ability, and now I'll cope to the best of my ability, and in the future will be the same. And remember those moments where we sleep better and do an activity that makes us feel better, and we are just transformed, recharged and transformed, or we feel connected with someone or high energy. We feel recharged and positive and optimistic. Those times happen in the past and they will happen again. So, hopeful for the good, the solutions. If our heart is beating, it means there's still more. Life still believes in us. Still there's more. There's more to learn, more to grow. It means that we still have the strength and the capacity. And bit by bit we'll get there. We don't need to learn and do it all at once. It's a journey. And it's sweet each time we get the solutions. We wish for things and that they happen. We don't even realize they happen. But let's make a conscious effort. I wish for this. Thank you so much. So we can shift from glad to mad. No, from mad to glad. We can shift from mad to glad. From negative to optimistic. From terrible to grateful. From struggle to acceptance. From hurt to compassion. And when we can tap into our joy. Let it rise, rise, rise. Let us feel more optimistic and go, yes! Don't worry, there's no pleasures in this moment. You'll get it. You will. Can let you go. Love from my heart. Big hug. You will be okay. Take yourself into nature. Release some of that tension, negative energy, and take deep breaths, movement, so the body can relax further. Look after yourself through hydration, eating healthy, resting and sleeping enough, and connect. Connect with another person, the world at large, so that you don't feel so isolated. And be connectivity that helps you feel naturally better, so that you can recharge, feel a little fuller, and have a bit more capacity to deal with life in life's terms. You'll be okay. And a lot of compassion and love, 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 love and love. Okay, better? Yes. You'll be okay, truly will.